Hello wannabe mechanics! In this video we will show you how easy it is to replace the brake pads and rotors on a Mercedes W205. Because modern cars are equipped with electric parking brake systems, normally for the back brakes you would need a scanning tool to retract the actuator inside the piston and only then use the piston press to retract the piston into the caliper. On this model, however, Mercedes added this feature to the main menu, so no tester is required. The simple fact that even Mercedes added this feature to its new models gives us the hint that doing brake jobs is not complicated and that anyone can do this job at home with a few cheap tools. To illustrate exactly that previous idea, we performed the job outside with no air or power tools whatsoever. If you want to understand exactly how electronic parking brakes work, just check out the video I link below. Don't go anywhere guys, meet you back in the shop right after our short intro. For this operation, you will need the following: a jack and a jack stand, for the front brake pads and rotors, a brake bar and a 17mm socket, a 17mm spanner or wrench, a 13mm socket and a ratchet wrench, a 21mm socket, a T30 Torx, an adapter for the Torx bit, two large box end wrenches, a metal wire brush, and a pair of needle nose pliers. For the rear brake pads, you will only need a 7mm Allen key. Activate parking brake and loosen up the lug nuts. Place the jack under a jacking point and raise the car. Remove the lug nuts and then the wheel. Place the wheel under the car as secondary safety measure. Then place the jack stand under the lower control arm as a first safety measure. This is where the two 13mm bolts from the sliding pins are located. What you want to do now is counterhold the nut with the 17mm spanner while removing the 13mm bolt at the end. Sometimes there is no need to counterhold, the bolt will easily come out. Suspend the caliper so you don't damage the brake lines and then take out the brake pads. Use the 21mm socket, a brake bar and an extender to loosen up the two bolts from the caliper's bracket. This is where the two 21mm bolts are located. Remove the bolts holding the caliper's bracket and take out the bracket. Use the T30 to remove the bolt holding the rotor and then take out the rotor. Use a metal wire brush to remove the rust deposits. Apply some grease on the contact areas. Place the rotor back on and thread the provided bolt. Attach the bracket and thread the two 21mm bolts. Tighten the two 21mm bolts. Place the new brake pads in position. The one with the bigger upper opening goes on the inside. Use the two box end wrenches to compress the piston as shown. Now we can attach the caliper. Thread and tighten the two 14mm bolts while counterholding the 17mm nut. Clean any grease off the rotor using brake cleaner. On the right side, you will also have to replace the wear sensor as presented. To take out the connector of the wear sensor, you first have to raise this metal clip. Now you can take off the caliper and remove the sensor from the inner brake pad. Slide the new wear sensor inside the inner brake pad, attach the caliper and insert the connector. Place the wheel back on, thread the lug nuts, lower the car, tighten the lug nuts, and you are done replacing the front brake pads and rotors. Don't forget to press the brake pedal until it becomes rigid before going anywhere. In order to retract the actuator and replace the rear brake pads, go to the trim menu, press and hold OK and dial buttons for 3 seconds, go to brake pad replacement and press OK. and another OK to move to fitting position. You will hear the motor retracting the actuator, and you will receive the fitting position has been reached message. Same initial steps for the rear wheels. Remove the plastic halves behind the guiding pins. This is where the two guiding pins are located. Use the 7mm Allen key or a hex bit to remove the two bolts. Press the clip and remove the connector for the electric motor. Remove the connector off the sensor. Remove the retaining spring. Pull the caliper firmly towards you so that the piston retracts just enough for the caliper to slide off the brake pads. As you can see, one of the wires of the sensor is gone, and that triggered the worn brake pads warning light. If your brake pads do not have these instructions, just remember that the one with the gap for the wear sensor always goes on the inner side. Now you can insert the new wear sensor. The owner of this car forgot to buy them, but the operation is exactly the same as for the front brake pads. Thread and tighten the two bolts, then apply the plastic caps. Remove the dirt and reinsert the connector for the electric motor. Place back the anti-rattles retaining spring. Place the wheel back on, thread the lug nuts, lower the car and tighten the lug nuts. All you have to do now is go to the same menu and press OK to exit fitting position. This way the electric motor will self-calibrate. Press OK to confirm and you are done. Thank you very much for watching. Use the comments section for any questions or suggestions, and if you find our videos interesting, make sure you subscribe for the latest wannabe mechanic videos. Bye bye.